tonight about all that's transpired since the Trump administration tried to put a lid on the Jeffrey Epstein story nearly a month ago, and everything that's not being done to get more of the truth out there. For instance, the House subpoenas issued yesterday to former President Clinton, Hillary Clinton, former attorneys general in both Democratic and Republican administrations dating back to the George W. Bush presidency. But one name conspicuously not on that list, the man who years before he served in the first Trump administration was a prosecutor and reached a non-prosecuting agreement with Epstein, which was controversial back then and even more so now. Details from CNN's Randy Kay.
In 2006, the FBI began investigating Jeffrey Epstein's alleged activities with underage girls.
I've seen hundreds and hundreds of girls go through Jeffrey's swinging door.
Yet as the feds got closer, Epstein cut a sweetheart deal.
Here at Epstein's Palm Beach home is where much of the alleged abuse took place. According to court documents, as far back as 2001, it's believed Epstein began luring underage girls here with the help of those who worked for him. Most of the girls ranged in age from 13 to 16 and came from disadvantaged homes. They'd never before seen the exclusive Palm Beach Island.
Federal investigators had identified at least 36 girls and were still building their case when suddenly in 2007 came this non-prosecution agreement. It allowed Epstein to plead guilty to a lesser charge, just 2 prostitution charges in state court, and register as a sex offender. He would serve just 13 months in county jail. The deal also granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators. None of those people were identified. The deal shut down the FBI's investigation into additional victims and accomplices, and any chance of Epstein going to prison for life.
I read the indictment. There was multiple allegations of sex trafficking, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
The deal was signed off on by then U.S. Attorney in Miami, Alexander Acosta, who in 2017 became labor secretary under the first Trump administration.
He's supposed to be protecting these victims, and he was protecting Jeffrey Epstein, a pedophile.
It's scary because this is our government that's supposed to protect us, but has done everything to protect, a pedophile.
At his confirmation hearing for labor secretary, Alexander Acosta tried to explain his decision not to prosecute Epstein federally.
A plea that guarantees that someone goes to jail, that guarantees that someone register generally, and that guarantees other outcomes is a good thing.
2 years later, in July 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges after federal prosecutors in New York concluded that they weren't bound by the terms of the earlier non-prosecution deal. Days later, Acosta resigned as labor secretary amid public outrage over his role in Epstein's controversial plea deal.
I do not think it is right and fair for this administration's labor department to have Epstein as the focus rather than the incredible economy that we have today.
Top Democrats in Congress had called for his removal following the new federal charges against Epstein for allegedly sex trafficking young girls. 2 days before he resigned, Acosta said he was pleased about the new federal charges against Epstein.
Epstein's actions absolutely deserve a stiffer sentence.
About a month later, in August 2019, Epstein was found dead in his federal jail cell while awaiting trial. Randy Kay, CNN, Palm Beach County, Florida.
More now on all this. I'm joined by Eric Lerner. He's an attorney representing Epstein accuser Jennifer Rose. Mr. Lerner, grateful for your time tonight. Just a general question first about the impact of this on your client and others like her. Just to see it in the news every day, to see it discussed every day, and to have the President of the United States standing in the Oval Office a short time ago referring to the focus on Epstein, the whole thing is a hoax and it's BS. How does that hit home with your client?
I mean, this is my first time hearing of that. First of all, it's great to be here with you, John. But obviously, hearing that this whole thing is a hoax and it's BS is very troubling, and my client would be very upset, obviously to hear language like that about this.
Sarah Fitzpatrick was here from The Atlantic, and she mentioned, and I understand your client, Jennifer Rose, only yesterday received a notice required by the Justice Department of its motion to unseal grand jury testimony. And despite the fact that this has been out there for a couple of weeks, the Justice Department was preparing to do that. What do you make of the timing there? Or is she being treated properly with respect?
Yes, you're correct. I was actually with Sarah in DC last night discussing this. This motion to unseal the grand jury transcripts was filed back on July 18th, but they didn't notify us and other victims until yesterday at 3:30 p.m. The same day the victims' responses were. Judge Berman had ordered the DOJ on July 22nd to give notice to victims, yet DOJ waited until last minute. You know, under the Crime Victims Act, the DOJ is required to provide victims with timely notice and a meaningful opportunity to be heard, and not just check a box last minute. So this is another example, we feel, of the DOJ not prioritizing the victims. Despite this last-minute notice, though, several victims, including Annie Farmer, managed to submit letters to the judge yesterday, and 2 victims submitted letters on Monday.
Your client alleges she was assaulted by Epstein in his New York townhouse. This is way back in 2001 when she was a freshman in high school. As you know, the New York prosecution obviously was not part of that sweetheart plea deal down in Florida. Have you had a conversation with her? Does she want more information from that case beyond grand jury testimony made public?
You mean from Florida?
Yeah.
From the Florida case?
Does she want to know more about what many people say was just a cover-up down there, or at least a sweetheart deal that kept it all from the public eye?
No, absolutely. She wants to know more. She wants everything. She wants everything from the Florida case unsealed and released. And I mean, other than the victims' identities, obviously she doesn't want that made public. But she wants to see everything from the Florida case unsealed. She wants to see everything from the New York case unsealed. And there's a lot of information, especially Jeffrey Epstein's emails, that would reveal a lot of information that we don't have, including the identity of co-conspirators.
Eric Blair, appreciate your time tonight. We'll obviously keep in touch as this plays out in the days ahead as we see whether that material is indeed released or not. Eric, thank you for your time. And again, next for us, some more breaking news.